If you want to make a shit ton of money, your life needs to be centered on making a shit ton of money, which means work needs to be your priority. 6 months ago, in November of 2025, I had a $4,000 month. April 2026, I did over 120 grand in profit. I'm gonna make well over $1 million this year at 20 years old. And the biggest thing that I kind of, attribute to what actually changed me as a person in a way where I was actually able to become a person who can make that much money is obviously what I did on a day-to-day basis, my actions. And like I said, if you want to make a lot of money, working needs to be your priority because that is essentially what is needed to make a lot of money. Work, a lot of work. And the problem is that no two people's lives are the same, right? No two people can run with the same daily schedule and have the same outcome because you might be a 20-year-old kid like me who doesn't go to college, who dropped out, and you also might be a 40-year-old dad with a kid that you have to drive to school at 9 in the morning every day and a lunch that you have to pack and you got to wake up early and maybe you have a full-time job as well. So the problem is that there is actually no such thing as an optimal daily routine. And actually, there is no such thing as an optimal routine. To make a lot of money, all that matters is that work is your priority, and most of the time, you're not gonna have an optimal routine. You're gonna have a very suboptimal routine, right? I don't sleep a lot, I drink a lot of caffeine, I'm tired a lot of the time. That isn't optimal, okay, right? Most people will tell you, get your 8 hours of sleep and, this and that. It's not possible, it's not realistic, okay? So first of all, stop looking for the best routine to just copy someone, wake up this time exactly, and then do this, and then do this, because this person telling you to do a deep work block from 7 to 10 a.m. doesn't have a fucking kid that he has to drive to school at 9 in the morning, right? So this is just like complete bullshit. You can't rely on an actual specific daily routine set in stone with, exact rules and whatnot. And again, you might have your deep work block and in the middle of it, your grandma's calling you because, I don't know, it's like Thanksgiving or something, right? You can't control a lot of things. There's a lot of external factors that are gonna pretty much make it impossible for you to adhere to a specific structured daily routine, okay? And what I found to work for me, what actually got me to a state where I was able to prioritize work and work for 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 16 hours a day, was creating a routine that pretty much makes it impossible for me to not be doing productive things towards my goals in the times where I can be, okay? Because again, you're not gonna always have 100% of a, free schedule where you can just allocate work to working, if that makes sense. You cannot just allocate your whole free time to work because at one point in your free time, I don't know, your cat might fucking piss on the floor and you have to clean it up. Like you just have to clean it up. You can't just leave cat piss there. So it's just impossible. But what you do need to do is understand that, okay, well, these are, kind of the overhead of life. Like these are just like life things that will happen. You have to take care of. It is what it is. You need to optimize for the times apart from this where you can actually allocate to working. And so the biggest reason I see a lot of people, and me personally, this is a huge one, actually not do the things that I need to do is because I just didn't fucking feel like it, right? You're not always gonna feel like being locked in and sitting at your computer. You're gonna be tired some days. You're gonna feel sick some days. And it's gonna be, pretty much impossible to push yourself to start cold calling fucking 100 companies. Like let's say you just run an agency and it's gonna be impossible for you to just start cold calling people when you feel sick, okay? So basically what you need to optimize your day around and structure it is by first making, the first thing you need to do is bring into your consciousness, when do you usually feel like you actually enjoy working, right? Because you're gonna have some times where, and of course work is always gonna be kind of hard, but you're gonna have some times where you just feel like you can lock in. You can kind of reach like a flow state sort of thing, and you could feel like you can actually get stuff done, right? Everybody has a specific scenario or time or whatever where they feel like that is the case. All right, so first, make into your consciousness when that time is and what causes that. So for me personally, I always feel my best and I always feel like I can lock in my most in the nighttime from like 10 p.m. to 1 a.m., right? That 3-hour block, maybe 9 to 1, is usually my most productive time where I feel like I enjoy kind of working, right? It's like, it's fun for me. I'm in my room and it's dark outside and there's no one to bug me and bother me, and I can actually lock in and get stuff done, okay? So the first thing is make this into your consciousness. Like, okay, this is the time where I am glad to work. And during those times, you need to allocate the tasks that no one pretty much can force you to do, right? So this is gonna be something like cold calling, or creating a YouTube video, or writing a cold email, or scripting something, or creating a website or a landing page, right? These are all things that no one can force you to do. This is just work that you just need to be like, okay, I'm gonna do it, and then go and do it just based off your, your discipline and whatnot. But when you actually feel like doing it, it's gonna be a lot easier to do it because you're not gonna have to be motivated. You're gonna be able to just do it, right? And so notice those times, whether it's first thing in the morning or whether it's late in the night. And the most important task that you need to do that nobody will ever force you to do, this is usually going to be the task that drives your business's growth. So whether that is cold calling, whether that is running ads or setting up a new creative, whether that is making a YouTube video or an Instagram reel, or writing a cold email or sending an SMS blast for your business, right? Whatever it is, these are usually the things that are going to drive your business's growth. They're going to bring in leads. And this is what you want to essentially do in those very creative periods. Now, what the fuck do you do in the contrary when you don't feel like doing anything and you just are lazy, you feel lethargic, right? We all have those times and those days. It's impossible to live without those. So for me personally, again, in the morning is when I typically feel very tired. And also the afternoon, right? After I wake up, basically I eat at like 6 p.m. I finish my last meal, and then I go to the gym in the morning because I know in the morning I do not feel like doing anything. So to get my blood flowing and to just kind of wake up a little bit, first thing I do is work out, okay? Now when I get back to the gym, from the gym, the first thing I wanna do after I eat, because again, I haven't eaten since 6 p.m., so I have a big meal. What's the first thing you wanna do after a big meal? You wanna just fucking go to sleep, right? Take a nap and just fucking pass out and not care about anything. So that is exactly when I will schedule my meetings. Because a meeting, I am forced to show up to. I can't just, I technically could, but that would be pretty fucking awful of me to schedule meetings, right? And not show up, okay? So that is essentially what I do. I force myself to actually do the things that I know I also need to do at some point during the day, but I'm gonna take these tasks where I am forced to do them and do them at those times where I don't feel like doing them. And again, you need to just take this on your daily schedule. This is not a one-size-fits-all approach. This is more so a framework that you need to apply to your life. So if you know that in the nighttime, for example, that's when you sort of feel, the worst and the most tired, that's when you're going to schedule those tasks that you need to essentially be forced to do. And this doesn't have to be forced on the basis of another person, right? A meeting is like, I have to show up because this person blocked the time out of their day. They're going to show up. And so it'd be very disrespectful for me to not show up. So that's why I have to go to my meetings. But this could also be from like a monetary standpoint. So if you put something on the line, like, hey, you know what? If I don't go here at this time or do this at this time, I am gonna basically lose X amount of dollars, right? You could send your best friend $200 every morning and say, hey, like if this task isn't done by this time, don't send the money back. And again, that's gonna kind of force you to actually show up and do it. And it's gotta be an amount of money that's significant enough to actually force you. So for me, like if I sent my buddy $200, I'd honestly just be like, fuck it, keep the 200. But if I sent my friend 2,000, then that's a different story. I'd probably do the work, right? So you have to basically base this again on your on yourself, right? On your actual daily schedule and how you operate as a person and how, you know, your circumstances lay out, and go from there. Another thing that you could do is like based off like guilt itself, right? So like for example, right? Let's say this is a kind of it's gonna be hard to follow, but it's the first thing that comes in mind because I talk to a lot of people in different time zones. So let's say you're in LA, right? And you're 3 hours behind me, who's in Toronto, Eastern time. And you run a marketing business, but you also go to college. And your college is from 9 to 3 p.m. So by the time you get back from college in Eastern time, everybody's off of work. So you essentially need to do your cold calls before school, right? Before 9 a.m. your time, because that's going to be 12 for these other people in the Eastern time zone. And then that's going to, you know, that needs to be done, right? So if you don't do it, then you're going to have the whole day wasted. You're going to miss out on it. So just based off the pure guilt of like, hey, like I have to do this or else I'm just wasting a day, you'll be able to lock in. Again, this is something that case by case, like some people might not feel any guilt. They'll be like, fuck it, I'll just do it tomorrow, right? At that point, you're probably just kind of cooked in life and you can click off this video because you have to feel some sort of like, you know, like drive towards getting to where you want to be. But the whole point is this needs to be curated based on your own personal experiences, your personal schedule, and your actual own personal life. Because I always tried to be like, okay, well, this guy says deep work from 7 to fucking this time. And I'm like, okay, well, actually, I prefer to go to the gym in the morning because I feel the most energy. And I don't feel like working in the morning, but I do feel like working in the night. So I'm going to make it easy for myself. And I'm going to do the things that I need to do in the night, right? Because it's easy at that point. And I'm going to force myself to do the other things in the afternoon because I don't feel like doing them. But if I'm forced, I basically will have to, right? And again, this will depend on what business you run, what specific tasks you do. This is never going to be a one size fits all approach, but you need to kind of just put into your consciousness like, hey, what makes you kind of not want to work? When do you not want to work? And when are you ready to just get after it and start fucking just grinding, okay? And base your daily schedule and the specific tasks on your business on those specific times, okay? So for example, right? Like if you're literally running a business like I do, so my main business is I run like a remote service business, right? I get leads for contractors in specific areas, specifically plumbers, and I basically send them the leads, they do the jobs, and I take 40% of that profit, right? And again, this will vary based on like how you do your marketing and whatnot, but let's say you need to sort of schedule a meeting with you don't feel like working in the daytime, right? Like you just hate working in the daytime. So that's when you're going to schedule your meeting with your contractors and you're going to send out all of your invoice. You're going to tell your customers like, hey, this is when I'm going to send out the invoice to you, right? Because, or your quote or your estimate, whatever. You're going to tell them that so that you're basically forced to, because you just told another person you're going to do something. You kind of have to keep your word as a business owner, or else, you know, you might lose a lot of money because they're not going to work with you. So that's kind of what you're going to force yourself to do. And again, right, like let's say you don't really like working during the day, right? You're going to make sure that all calls are forwarded to you during the day so that you're answering. And in the evening, then you can hire your virtual assistant to work part-time in the evening so that they can take calls in the night when you're actually motivated to work, and you can work on the business, actually growing it, right? Doing the things that you need to do to generate more leads. So again, based off your personal situations, you need to be able to adapt and create a daily schedule that works for yourself. So that's kind of everything that I really have for this video. This genuinely took me from being quite lazy. Like, you know, of course I would work a little bit here and there, maybe a couple hours a day, but this is what got me to really be able to like actually focus and lock in for several hours every single day. It's what got me to over 100 grand a month in profit. Gonna make me over $1 million. I literally also just bought a fucking Lambo today. So I'll probably have a video of that soon. Should be coming within the next couple days. Supposed to get it today, but delayed a little bit. So anyways, bought a fucking Lambo at 20, and I'll probably throw up some type of like bank statement earlier in the video so you would have seen I'm not lying. And that's it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If If you found it useful, like and subscribe. Give some of my other content a watch where I actually explain what I do to make money. And if you guys found this valuable, then I think I already said to like and subscribe, so that's all. Appreciate you guys all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.